Look, I've seen plenty of divisive games in my time, but my god, Last of Us Part 2 has to be the game with just the biggest split in opinion that I have ever seen. There's not a person alive that has said, yeah, this game's alright. Everyone either talks about what a masterpiece this is, or what utter garbage it is. There's seemingly no middle ground with this one. If someone posts a video saying that they enjoyed the game, the comment section just fills with people saying that they're bought out, or that this is just a bad take. In the eyes of some people, this game is just garbage, and if you don't agree, then you're wrong. People, let me show you something. This is garbage, right here. Or this. What about this one? These are examples of garbage games that should be scoring 1s and 2s out of 10. You telling me Last of Us Part 2 is at this level? So let's break this game down a bit. Let's start with the one thing that everyone agrees upon, the graphics. This game is one of the most beautiful games I have ever seen. It breathes life into all of the different settings you explore, and whether it's a snowstorm, a rainstorm, the coastline, this game's absolutely stunning. And every new environment you step into is absolutely breathtaking. And this extends to the characters and their animations and expressions as well. I mean, just look at the way Dina looks at Ellie in the opening section of the game. She doesn't have to say anything. You can tell by her face just how she feels about Ellie. That already makes it better than 99% of games out there that can't figure out facial expressions for the life of them. This is about as good as we can expect graphics to get this generation, and I find it harder and harder to picture what better graphics could even look like down the road. Now, let's talk about some of the more controversial areas. The first one is the gameplay. At times, Last of Us Part 2 is a thrilling survival stealth game, but the stealth is never really required. I'm an impatient human being, I can admit that. And after I stealth kill 1 or 2 people, I tend to lose my patience and just shoot the rest of them with a shotgun. You also will likely develop different strategies depending on who you are up against and how you choose to play the game. I rarely ever shot any infected, and I found it much more efficient to just melee them. On the other hand, whenever I faced humans, long distance weapons were my preference. Sometimes you may even face infected and humans at the same time, and you can throw bottles and pipe bombs to lure the infected over to the humans and have them fight each other, while you sneak by to try and find that note that some dead guy wrote 20 years ago. Outside of the combat, you're probably going to spend a bulk of your time searching every single corner of every single building and every drawer and every desk, searching for half a bottle of alcohol or half a scissor, whatever that means. Scavenging is a huge part of the game as well, and similar to grinding in JRPGs, it can be boring time filler. The game makes up for this by having some witty dialogue between characters.
Oh, hello, sorry, the dinosaurs are busy right now.
What are you doing?
Oh, wait, one of the dinosaurs is here. Joel, it's for you.
Very funny.
But when you're alone, this can really feel like a chore at times. Alright, put your spoiler cap on for the rest of this video, please. You ready? Here we go. Easily the most disputed part of the game is the story. But let's pause for a second. Good graphics? Check. Fun gameplay? For the most part. That alone should make this a pretty solid game, even if the story was laughably horrible. I mean, have you played Kingdom Hearts? The story in that game is the most absurd piece of Swiss cheese, but people still like it for what it is.
Who are you?
I'm what's left. Or maybe I'm all there ever was.
I meant your name.
A bad story does not equal a 1 out of 10 review. And is the story even that bad? I guess that depends. It's not that it's a bad story, but it's the story that nobody really wanted. See, the beauty of the first game is that Joel and Ellie hated each other, but grew to care for and love each other, and it turned into this beautiful father-daughter relationship that ends with Joel committing a horrible deed to save her life. It was very thought-provoking and meaningful. And within the first hour of this game, bam, Joel's dead. And not just dead, but brutally beat down by some random character, at least random at the time. Joel's death was not unexpected. I would have been more surprised if he had survived through the entire game. But how he died was a huge twist, and a lot of people felt he deserved a much more deserving death. After that, the story is really solid, up to the 10-hour mark or so. You play as Ellie, and you get to watch her connect with Dina in a similar, though less impactful, fashion to what we saw with Joel and Ellie. While the relationship between Dina and Ellie didn't feel as special, mostly because we saw Joel's daughter die at the beginning of the first game, and we slowly saw him begin to view Ellie as his own child, and Ellie and Dina had been together for about one day. But it was still fun getting to watch them protect and look out for each other. So hour 1 through 10, loved it. Then you get to this girl, Abby. Before I played this, I thought Ellie was going to be the star of the game and that you'd play as her pretty much the entire time. But instead, she shares the spotlight with the very character that killed Joel right in front of you. Talk about bold move, Naughty Dog. I really enjoyed Abby's storyline, and I liked learning about the WLF, but it did feel like it was way too long. The developers were seemingly trying to show that Abby and her group aren't necessarily bad guys, at least no worse than Joel and Ellie, and that they were just fighting to survive as well. However, they probably could have done this in a 2 to 3 hour section, as opposed to another 9 to 10 hours. For a lot of the time, I found myself just rushing through to get back to the Ellie vs. Abby throwdown that we were all waiting to see. Some people suggested they should have just split Ellie and Abby's stories into 2 separate video games, then we'd be paying $120 for this, so that's silly. And even though Abby's section was a bit longer than it needed to be, it was still a fun section, and watching her care for Yara and Lev showed that she isn't just some murderous maniac. In fact, toward the end, I started to understand and accept why she killed Joel. But this game also has another lesson about revenge. Fireflies wanted to kill Ellie, so Joel killed a bunch of them, including Abby's father. So Abby kills Joel. As a result, Ellie kills basically all of Abby's friends. Then when Abby comes to get her back, she kills Jesse and almost kills Tommy and Dina. Then Ellie goes back and attempts to kill Abby again. It's this back and forth cycle, and watching Ellie and Abby break that at the end was a huge relief. Look, this game is dark. It isn't meant to make you feel warm and fuzzy. Joel getting brutally murdered by someone that you don't get to kill, and that you even feel for in a way, is a sucky feeling and nobody wanted that, but that's kind of what The Last of Us is all about. No, Ellie didn't get a happy ending. In the end, she lost Dina, and she never got the revenge she so desperately sought. But we'd be kidding ourselves if we expected a Last of Us game to end with roses and sunshine. Is there room for improvements? Absolutely. And I don't think this game lives up to the storytelling of the first game. But the first game also had one of the best stories of any game ever, so that certainly is not an insult. That's like getting mad at a basketball player for not being as good as Michael Jordan. Not really a fair comparison. Naughty Dog had a lot of controversy and issues in the months leading up to the game, fraught with leaks, delays, and complaints about employee treatments. People had already pretty much decided that they hate this game long before it released. Didn't like the story? That's fair. Found some of the gameplay not as enticing as the first? Valid. And if you truly hate the game, then that's okay. It's an opinion. Personally, I really enjoyed this game, and so far, it's my game of the year. The gameplay and it's fun, the graphics are beautiful, and it's a dark story, albeit still very enticing. I have to give this game 9 golf clubs out of 10. Now, where's my cash, Naughty Dog?